is the head that wears the crown.
Indeed.
Literally. So Eden wrote this for a
Imagine a giant solid.
and it says that
He takes it off his head.
it's Alice's Adventures in
Can you
Wonderland.
imagine what I look like in a crown? Like a baby with a tiara on.
Even though the original text and power illustration
Whale.
Yeah.
the name is so that's why it's Alice's Adventures.
There's a difference.
I'm not using one of the many previous adaptations was that you have to take a fresh start without having to worry about other copyrights or viewpoints. Many previous adaptations make experience compared to Wonderland into looking glass. There is more than enough in Wonderland by itself to make a valuable story between the
Indeed.
what changes were needed. The book is the
Well, if you look at Candace right next to Lori, it's absolutely no
Audio theater often needs a narrator.
No question.
Parts of it and adding action or theme. Audio theater uses music and sound effects that are attached to
The other day was
to provide actual musical numbers. David is the lead. How did you choose the narrator? This is fascinating. As Lewis Carroll has said, and this often
Yeah,
happens with
Aaron's
all
new
artists,
nickname in our family is
logical
Fabio.
narrator is someone else who has been
Because he's got
already.
the hair.
Charlie, make sure that the ears are flapping.
Yeah, what else changed in
Well,
the project?
as long as they're
Process
flapping, it doesn't matter.
The book spans 150 pages, much of the material.
Last
has
night, they
been
decided to wrap
75
around and
minutes
stay
playing.
wrapped around.
Among the parts, shortened or eliminated, were
Order
song,
thing.
poem,
But I was very
parable,
sad.
and
I was a
stories of
sad
popular idols and of
She
hero.
was.
She was. Audience couldn't know the original. Some of these
And then I was a
were
smart aleck dormouse.
That's true.
so, and we have an older Alice.
Make sure it's on my giant size. Just before I do the Sherlock Holmes announcement, I need the two soldier hats.
I guess my plane didn't fire as fierce off.
I need, I only need them right there at the end.
My plane actually has a
Yes,
deer
that,
stalker hat.
just, he told me he found them, but they've been sitting around
the snail replied too far, and gave a look askance. Then thanked the whiting kindly, but he would not join the dance. Would not, could not, would not, could not, would not join the dance. Would not, could not, would not, could not, would not join the dance. What matters it how far we go, his scaly friend replied. There is another shore, you know, upon the other side. The further off from England and nearer is to France. Then turn not tail, beloved still, but come and join the dance. Will you, won't you, will you, won't you, will you join the dance? Will you, won't you, will you, won't you, won't you join the dance?
Hello, everyone. My name is Alice. As you know, in this story, I try to recite a poem to make myself feel better in a situation so tragic, but it gets all messed up. I start to recite, "How doth the little busy bee," but it comes out about a crocodile? Let me show you. How doth the little
Beautiful Soup was written in 1865 by Lewis Carroll. It's a poem used in the original Alice's Adventures in Wonderland play. Our song has been adapted and arranged for our use by our very own Eden Miller and Laurie Anderson. The verses are written about what is apparently vegetable soup. No game or fish required. It's beautiful, it's delicious, and it's plain. Yet the mock turtle may seem even selfish for not sharing his serving. But his excitement while awaiting the dish and the vision of it served steaming in a bowl for him is incomparable to anything else. The moral of this poem, as the Duchess is wont to say, is always be positive about every decision you make. Something like that. Appreciate what you have achieved in life and enjoy every moment you are living now.
Beautiful soup, so rich and green, waiting in a hot tureen. Who for such dainties would not stoop?
of evening, beautiful, beautiful soup. Beautiful soup, who cares for fish, game, or any other dish? Who would not give it all for two? Pennyworth only, beautiful soup. Pennyworth only, beautiful soup. Beautiful soup. Beautiful soup. Soup of the evening. Beautiful, beautiful soup. The adventures in Wonderland are now all safely through, and whether they were real or not, we'll leave that up to you. Your journey through the looking glass, perhaps one day we'll see, and if you all will join us, then you're welcome company. Will you, won't you join us then? Will you, won't you hear us all again?
Hello, everyone. My name is Rachel, and I'm happy to welcome you all to the Fayetteville Public Library. Thank you for being here today, and thank you to those watching our live stream. We are excited to have Northwest Arkansas Audio Theater presenting Alice's Adventures in Wonderland for you. After the program, please take a moment to fill out the evaluations at the back of the room. Your feedback is greatly appreciated. And with that, enjoy the show.
Welcome, friends, to this Northwest Arkansas Audio Theater's adaptation of Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. First published 160 years ago, this story has entertained people of all ages and all over the world ever since. So, let's return you now to those thrilling days of yesteryear, 19th century Victorian England, where Lewis Carroll made nonsense seem sensible and the critical and, well, not so critical and his loving mix up of the world in which he and his young friend Alice lived. This is audio theater, friends, so like the radio dramas of days gone by and the audiobooks of today, you can sit there, close your eyes, and act like you're listening to your radio at home. Or, like those radio shows of the golden age, you are our live studio audience. As such, you can watch as our voice actors, our sound effect artists, and our musicians create the story in front of your very ears. So, please silence your cell phones as we bring you Alice in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Northwest Arkansas Audio Theater, NWAAT
is on the air.
Everyone, how very nice of you to be here. My name is Alice Pleasance Little, and I am 7½ years old. I would like to share with you the story of something fantastical which happened to me when I was ever so much younger. Just turned 7. Oxford University mathematics professor, the Reverend Charles Lutwidge Dodson, a great friend of mine, wrote it all down under his pen name of Lewis Carroll. But he made my story sound like it was a made-up tale or a dream. That's a grown-up for you. It all seemed very real to me. My younger self and I will tell it to you just the way it was, and let you be the judge of its reality. As I often talk to myself, she and I may do so. And if we argue, you may be sure that I, as the older and cleverer Alice, will win.
What was that? A rabbit? It must be very large.
It was a large white rabbit, which was not so very astonishing, but when it took a large gold watch from its pocket and said,
oh dear, I shall be too late.
I knew that no rabbit I had ever heard of had a watch or a pocket or spoken English, so I ran after it at once.
Mr. Rabbit! Mr. Rabbit! Wait for me! Oops! Oh dear!
When the rabbit darted down his hole, I fell in after him before I could stop myself.
Dear me, it's taking an awfully long time to reach the bottom. I wonder if little Dinah will miss me if I don't get home for a while. She's such a sweet kitty, but no one else will remember her saucer of cream at bedtime. Oof, gracious, that was a fall. But I'm not a bit hurt. Thank goodness. There's the rabbit. Mr. Rabbit, please, wait for me. He's gone. Grown-ups are always in such a hurry. Why couldn't he have waited?
As I looked about me, I saw that I was in a long hallway with many doors. All of them locked. But midway along the hall was a clear glass table with a tiny golden key on it. The key fitted only one door, which was only about 15 inches high.
Oh, look! On the other side of the door is a beautiful garden. I want to go there. But only my head can fit through the doorway. What good is my head without the rest of me? If I could shut myself up like a telescope, I could do it. Whatever is that on the table? It wasn't there a moment ago.
It was a very small bottle with a very large label on it, which said, "Drink me."
Drink me. I'm jolly well not going to do that without checking to see if it says poison on it. It doesn't. It smells quite tasty. Oh my! I've drunk it all up! The hall is growing, or I'm shrinking? I must be shutting up like a telescope. Now I can fit through the door, see the beautiful garden. Oh no, the door is locked, the key is on the table, and I am too small to reach it. Glass table legs are too slippery to climb. Oh, what now? There's a little box under the table with a cake inside. It says "Eat me" and raisins across the top. If it makes me bigger, I can reach the key. If it makes me smaller, I can slip under the door. Curiouser and curiouser. I must be opening out like the biggest telescope there ever was. Goodbye, feet. Will I ever see you again?
I was at least 9 feet tall. I had to stoop to keep from knocking my head on the ceiling.
Now for the key, and the door, and the beautiful garden.
But I was so big, I could see the garden through the doorway only by lying down and looking sideways.
Now I should never get into the garden. Oh dear, it's too bad.
I cried so much. There was a pool of water quite 4 inches deep over most of the floor. I told myself sternly to stop crying. But of course, I didn't listen. Just then...
Oh, my ears and whiskers. Oh, how late it's getting. The Duchess will have my tail for this.
Mr. Rabbit, you've come back. Please, help me to get out of here.
Ah! It's an enormous, ugly, rabbit-eating giant. Ah!
No, please, wait. You've dropped your fan and gloves. He's gone again. Alice, you must stop this useless crying before you melt away. Try to think uplifting thoughts as a child of the Victorian age ought to do. I know. I'll recite that lesson from yesterday. The poem, How Doth the Little Busy Bee? How doth the little crocodile improve his shining tail and pour the waters of the Nile on every golden scale? How cheerfully he seems to grin, how neatly he spreads his claws, and welcomes little fishes in with gently smiling jaws? I'm quite certain those are not the right words. What's the matter with my memory today?
Alice, dear, while you've been composing yourself, you've been fanning yourself with the rabbit's fan, and you've just put on one of his little gloves. I'd stop fanning if I were you, which I am.
I must have been shrinking again.
By the way, as a child of the Victorian age, you will find yourself being told by everyone constantly to recite all that boring, uplifting poetry. A word of advice, in this land of talking rabbits, don't do it. Trust me on this one. Oh, and watch out for that pool of tears.
How did I get to the seaside? No, wait. This salt water isn't the sea. It's the pool of my own tears. How I wish I hadn't cried so much. Which way to go to get out of this? There's a mouse over there. Oh, mouse, do you know the way to the shore? It isn't answering. Maybe it's a French mouse. Où est ma chatte?
Cat! Cat? Where?
I'm so sorry, Master Mouse. That's the only French I know. I forgot you didn't like cats.
Would you like cats if you were me?
Of course not. How about dogs? Our neighbor has the cutest little rat terrier. It goes after little rodents like lightning. Sorry.
Follow me to dry land, and I'll tell you why I don't like cats and dogs.
While the mouse and Alice are swimming to dry land, we pause now for this commercial announcement from Auntie Katie's World's Best Comfits. Now, what are comfits, you might ask? Well, here's Auntie Katie herself to tell you all about these delicious confections.
Greetings, friends. I am the cook, also known as Auntie Katie. Later in this tale, you will find that I make soup with much too much pepper in it and throw things at that hoity-toity Duchess when she invades my kitchen. Really, though, I'm a very sweet person and a very good confectioner. I make the world's best comfits from the very best nuts and seeds and dried fruits and spices, coated over many hours with many layers of the finest sugar. This sugar coating process mustn't be hurried or interrupted, which is why mothers depend on me to make the world's best comfits, the brand which their high standards require for their children. World's best comfits are packed in sturdy little boxes, suitable for carrying in pockets. Find them at your grocer's today. Sugar-coated nuts and seeds and fruits and tasty spices. When coating them, don't leave your children to their own devices. Buy my comfits ready-made, you really love my prizes. Auntie Katie's world's best comfits, always winning all the prizes.
We return you now to the swim in progress, where many other creatures have fallen into the pool of tears.
The pool of tears was getting quite crowded with other creatures. An eaglet, a lorikeet, a crab, and many others, including a dodo. We all followed the mouse to dry land.
Ah, how disagreeably wet and beraggled we all are. How shall we ever get dry?
Shall I tell you a long, involved history lesson? It's the driest thing I know.
With all due respect, Master Mouse, I, Professor Dodo, think a caucus race would do us better. Now, all of us line up here. Start when you like. Stop when you wish. And I'll tell you when the race is done.
We all ran the race, although it was impossible to tell who was ahead or behind. But at least all of that running about did get us dried off.
The race is finished.
Oh, tell us, Professor Dodo, who's the winner of the caucus race?
Yes.
Who gets the prize?
All have participated, so all have won. And all must have prizes.
Prizes, prizes, prizes!
And she shall give them out. What do you have for prizes, my dear?
Nothing but this box of comfits in my pocket.
Comfits?
Comfits.
Candy.
Candy! Candy, candy, candy!
Perfect. Here's for you, and the others, and there you are. One comfit apiece all the way around. Oh, sorry, child. I'm afraid there's nothing left for you.
Come now, Professor. We must be fair. She must have something.
Quite right, Master Mouse. For you, Miss Alice, we have this splendid comfit box. Guaranteed proof against salt water and suitable for refilling if you should ever happen to have any more comfits.
I'm sure I don't know how to thank you, Professor Dodo.
Think nothing of it, my dear.
You may be certain of that.
I must be away to teach my class. Enjoy your comfort box.
Master Mouse, you were going to tell us why you don't like dogs and cats?
Oh, yes. Mine is a long and sad tale. Once I had a large...
It happened that I was looking at the mouse's tail as he spoke. It was quite long and curved in several bends, but I could not see why it should be considered a sad tale.
I say, Alice, are you even listening?
Of course. You had got to the 5th bend, I think.
5th bend, indeed. I shall not stay here to be ignored and insulted. A good day to you.
The poor mouse. Why couldn't you be nice to him?
Yeah, why couldn't you?
But the mouse is so easily offended. What could I do? You know, Dinah, my cat, wouldn't think every little thing was meant to hurt her. She is so calm, especially when she is watching a mouse hole. She could do that all day. And you should see her lie in, wait to pounce on the little birds. She is so still, you would think she is just a statue of a cat.
I had no idea how late it's getting. I really must be going. Goodbye, all.
Yes, we must all be off before dinner time.
So long.
Oh, no. They are all so easily offended. And I am all alone.
While all of this was going on, somehow the Hall of Doors had vanished. I found myself in the middle of a meadow with just a hint of chimney showing over the trees. All at once, the White Rabbit came charging straight up to me.
Mary Ann, what are you playing at, lazing about here? Go fetch my fan and gloves instantly.
He must have mistaken me for his servant girl. He was so irate and impatient that I ran off in the direction he pointed without trying to correct his mistake.
I wonder if Dinah will be ordering me about next. I hope the real Mary Ann isn't inside. How do I explain barging in like this?
On a table in the upstairs bedroom, I saw a fan and some gloves, and another little bottle like the one on the glass table in the hall.
I wonder. This bottle doesn't say drink me. But the stuff inside smells the same. I'm so tired of being small enough to be ordered about by a rabbit.
Suddenly, I was so big, I was lying on the floor with one foot up the chimney, one arm out the window, and the other elbow jammed against the door.
If I grow any more, what will become of me? There's too much me for the room now. If this is what growing up is like, being trapped in the house, I'm not sure I want to.
Mary Ann, bring my fan and gloves at once. At once, do you hear? Oh, that silly girl isn't worth her wages. The door is stuck. I'll go around by the window.
The White Rabbit gave up trying to get it at the window when I snatched at him through it. Then he sent his servant, Little Bill, down the chimney. But I kicked Bill straight back out.
Bill, old chap, what happened?
I'm sure I doesn't know, Your Honor. One moment, I'm going down the chimney. And the next, shoot, I'm shooting through the air like a skyrocket.
What a shame.
Oh, glad it wasn't me. You're a braver bloke than I am, Bill.
Bill, you brave fellow. You've done enough. If all else fails, we'll burn down the house to get rid of the monster.
You do? And I'll set Dinah on you.
Crank it up. Higher. Higher.
Oh, aim it further to the right. Load it careful now.
That's got it, lads. Fire!
You'd better stop that! Ow!
The pellets they fired through the window turned into tiny cakes when they hit the floor.
Older Alice, help! You know how we got out of this.
Quick, Alice, eat the cakes.
Off the floor? Nanny would have a kitten.
Eat now. Worry about Nanny later.
It's working. I'm shrinking. I'm out of here. I'm safe now, but all alone again. And so tiny. I wish I were my own proper size again. Hello? What's that? It's a caterpillar sitting on top of an enormous mushroom. Hello, Mr. Caterpillar, sir.
Who are you?
I hardly know, sir. Just at present. I know who I was when I got up this morning, but I think I must have changed several times since then.
What do you mean by that? Explain yourself.
I can't explain myself because I'm not myself, you see?
I don't see.
I don't understand it myself, and being so many different sizes in one day is very confusing.
No, it isn't.
Well, perhaps you haven't found it so yet, but when you have to turn into a chrysalis and then into a butterfly, I should think you'd find it a little queer, don't you?
Not a bit.
Perhaps your feelings might be different. All I know is it would feel very queer to me.
You? Who are you?
I think you ought to tell me who you are first.
Why?
Ugh!
Come back. I have something important to say.
What's that?
Keep your temper.
Is that all?
No. So, you think you've changed, do you?
I'm afraid I do, sir. I can't remember things as I used to, and I don't keep the same size for 10 minutes together.
Can't remember what things?
That's what I can't remember.
Well, do you know what size you want to be?
I should like to be a little larger, sir, if you wouldn't mind. 3 inches is such a wretched height to be.
It is a very good height indeed.
For you, indeed, but I'm not used to it.
You will get used to it in time. Well, I must be off. There are some lovely green leaves and some fava beans calling me to dinner. By the way, one side will make you grow taller, the other side will make you grow smaller.
One side of what? The other side of what?
Of the mushroom, of course.
But how can there be sides to a round mushroom?
At last, I stretched my hands as far around the mushroom cap as I could reach and broke off the furthest bits.
First to try the right-hand bit. No!
My chin had struck my foot. With no time to lose, I just managed to get a taste of the left-hand piece into my mouth, and my head and neck shot into the air. There I was, with my head above the trees and my hands with the mushroom pieces in them out of sight below. I was trying to get all of me back to ground level when a pigeon flew into my face and started beating me with her wings.
Serpent! Serpent! Oh, there's no pleasing them. No matter where I build my nest, they're always after my eggs.
I'm not a serpent. I'm a little girl.
A likely story indeed. I've seen a great many little girls in my time, but never one with such a neck as that. I suppose you'll be telling me next that you've never tasted an egg.
I have tasted eggs, certainly, but I'm not looking for eggs. If I was, I shouldn't want yours. I don't like them raw.
Oh, so my eggs aren't good enough for you, hmm? Well then, fly, walk, or slither away, little girl. But get out of my tree. Oh, nothing's ever good enough. Nothing's ever good enough.
Luckily, soon there was an opening in the trees where I could pull myself together. That was better, getting back to my old self. Then I noticed...
That's a very grand house just ahead. I wonder if that's where the beautiful garden is.
As I moved closer, a fish-faced footman came racing out of the woods and pounded on the front door. The door was opened by a frog-faced footman.
Oh, hi-ho. What do you want, fish face? You gonna pound down the Duchess's door then?
You might be a little more polite, Frogface, if you knew why I come. For the Duchess, an invitation from the Queen to play croquet.
From the Queen? An invitation to the Duchess to play croquet?
The fish-faced footman darted away as fast as he had come. The frog-faced footman made no move to take the invitation inside, but instead sat alone on the ground near the door, paying no attention to the awful racket coming from the house. A constant sneezing, howling, and breaking of crockery.
Please, Master Footman, how am I to get in?
Oh, the question is, are you going to get in at all?
Then what am I to do?
Anything you'd like.
Very well, then. I will.
The kitchen was right inside the front door, which seemed a very backwards arrangement for such a grand house. The room was full of smoke and pepper from one end to the other. The cook was stirring an immense cauldron of soup, adding more pepper every short while, when she wasn't throwing crockery in all directions. The Duchess was sitting on a stool in the middle of the floor, holding a howling baby and paying no attention to the cook. The only creatures there not sneezing were the cook and the large cat which lay on the hearthstone, grinning from ear to ear.
Ma'am, would you please tell me why your cat grins like that?
It's a Cheshire cat. That's why.
I didn't know Cheshire cats always grinned. In fact, I didn't know that cats could grin at all.
So you don't know much, and that's a fact.
Oh, please, cook. Mind what you're doing. You almost didn't miss us.
If everyone minded their own business, the world would go around a great deal faster than it does. And this piggy baby might be quiet. pleasing him. You tend him for a while. I must go get ready to play croquet with the queen.
The Duchess thrust the baby right into my arms. I was so startled, I only just caught him. Then I took him out of that dreadful kitchen, out into the open air.
If I don't take this child away with me, they're sure to kill him in a day or two. Wouldn't it be murder to leave him behind? Don't grunt, my dear. That's not at all a proper way of expressing yourself. If you're going to turn into pig, my dear, I'll have nothing more to do with you. Mind now. You have become a pig. Off with you then, and stay out of truffles.
The pig trotted away quite happily into the wood.
He was a rather ugly child, but makes a very handsome pig, I think. Hello, what's that?
It was the Cheshire Cat, sitting on a branch of a tree beside a crossroads and grinning from ear to ear.
Excuse me, Cheshire Puss. Would you please tell me which way I ought to go from here?
That depends a great deal on where you want to get to.
I really don't much care where.
Then it really doesn't matter which way you go.
As long as I get somewhere.
Oh, you're sure to do that. If only you walk long enough. In that direction lives a hatter, and in that direction lives a March hare. Visit either you like, they're both mad.
But I don't want to go among mad people.
You can't help that. We're all mad here. I'm mad, you're mad.
I'm what? Why would you say I'm mad?
You must be, or you wouldn't be here. Do you play croquet with the Queen today?
I should like to, but I haven't been invited yet.
You will be. They're always short of players. You'll see me there.
The cat vanished suddenly, like a soap bubble. Then, just as quickly, he reappeared.
By the way, what happened to the baby?
The baby turned into a pig. Cheshire Puss, I wish you wouldn't pop in and out like that. It makes me quite giddy.
Very well, as you wish.
This time, the cat vanished very slowly, beginning with his tail and continuing until only his grin was left, for a little while.
Well, I have often seen a cat without a grin, but never before have I seen a grin without a cat.
I thought I might venture to visit the March hare, thinking he might not be as mad as the Hatter. Over a little hill, I could see a house with chimneys shaped like rabbit ears. So it seemed to me it must be the right place.
I do hope the March hare is at home and hospitable. It would be so nice to have something ordinary to eat and drink again. Something which won't change my size, like a nice cup of tea.
Friends and neighbors, even in a tale set in Victorian England, we find we can't escape the need for the occasional commercial announcement, as we've heard from Auntie Katie's World's Best Comfits. So, while Alice is heading over the hill to the house with the rabbit-eared chimneys, we pause now to bring you herself, Her Grace, the Duchess, on behalf of our next sponsor, Hoity-Toity High Tea.
Thank you, peasant. You may withdraw. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to assure you that the disreputable state of my kitchen, which you encountered earlier, is not my customary style of living. As the Duchess, I owe it to my position to be seen to use only the best of everything. Now, you poor, benighted colonials may not be aware taking tea elegantly means far more than simply sipping beverages. A proper high tea includes not only the finest tea from India, Ceylon, and China, delicately cooled with the finest of creamy milk and served in delicate bone china, but also an opulent assortment of dainty sandwiches, bread and butter, scones, jams and preserves, clotted cream, fruit compotes, and tea cakes. That is why I depend on the very best, most dependable caterer, Hoity-Toity High Tea, to provide everything I need at any time, even on a moment's notice, because one never knows when the Queen and her court might drop by. You too may depend on Hoity-Toity High Tea, even though I dare say the sort of endorsement arrangement I have isn't available to many. You may sing the jingle now.
Hoity-toity high tea.
Never cross or flighty, always brings the right tea.
Call us, we'll make certain that your tea's both high and mighty. Impress your guests with the very best, hoity-toity high tea.
Under a tree in front of the March Hare's house was a very long table spread with everything needed for afternoon high tea, and many places set, but only 3 people seated at it, crowded into one corner: the Mad Hatter, the March Hare, and the Dormouse.
Oh, look, there's a child coming, March. Old feller, would you tell her there's no room for anyone else?
You tell her, Hatter. It's all your fault anyways.
No room.
No room. Nonsense! There's plenty of room. No one is using this armchair. That's better. I hadn't sat down in ever so long.
Will you have some more tea?
It isn't very civil of you to offer more tea when I haven't had any yet.
It wasn't very civil of you to sit down without being invited.
Sorry, I didn't know it was your table. It's set for a great many more than 3.
Indeed it is, because you see,
Why is a raven like a writing desk?
I believe I can guess that.
Do you mean you think you have the answer to it?
I do. At least I mean what I say. That's the same thing, you know?
It's not the same thing a bit. Well, you might as well just say, I see what I eat is the same thing as I eat what I see.
Or I like what I get is the same as I get what I like.
Or I breathe when I sleep is the same as I sleep when I breathe.
Oh, that is the same thing with you, Dormouse. Alice, child, do you know what day of the month it is?
The 22nd?
Well, this watch, it's 2 days wrong. I told you butter wouldn't work in the works.
But it was the best butter.
Yes, but some crumbs must have got in as well. You shouldn't have put them in with a bread knife.
What a funny watch. It tells the day of the month and doesn't tell what o'clock it is?
Well, why should it? Does your watch tell you what year it is?
Of course not. But that's because it stays the same year for such a long time together.
A slow sort of watch that doesn't note the year? Have you guessed the riddle yet?
No, I give it up. Why is a raven like a writing desk?
I haven't the slightest idea.
Nor do I.
I think you might find something better to do with the time and waste it on riddles which have no answers.
If you knew time as well as I do, you wouldn't talk about wasting it. The proper pronoun is him. I dare say you have never spoken to time.
Perhaps not, but I know I have to beat time when I learn music.
Oh, he won't stand beating, you know. If only you kept on good terms with him, he'd do almost anything you liked with the clock. Well, just suppose now, it was 9 o'clock in the morning, just in time for lessons. You'd only have to whisper a hint at time, and instantly it would be time for lunch.
Is that the way you manage?
No, I wish it could be so, but alas, Time and I quarreled last March, and it was at the great concert given by the Queen of Hearts. I had to sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Bat. I hardly finished the first verse when the Queen hollered, "Ooh, he's murdering time! Off with his head!" Oh, ever since then, time won't do a thing I ask. It's always 6 o'clock now. It's always time for tea with no time to wash up between whiles.
So that's why you have so many tea things set out. You keep moving around, I suppose, as things get used up? What happens when you get back to the beginning?
Suppose we change the subject. I vote the young lady tell us a story.
I'm afraid I don't know one.
Oh, well, the Dormouse shall then. Wake up there, Dormouse.
Tell us a story, Dormouse. And be quick about it before you fall asleep again.
Once upon a time, there were 3 little sisters who lived at the bottom of a well in a wood.
What did they live on?
Treacle.
And why at the bottom of a well?
It was a treacle well.
A well full of sticky golden sugar syrup? There's no such thing.
If you can't be civil, you can finish this story yourself.
No, please, go on. I dare say there may be one treacle well.
And they were learning to draw the treacle.
Where do they draw the treacle from?
If you can draw water from a water well, you can draw treacle from a treacle well, right?
But they were in the well.
Yes, indeed, well in. They drew all manners of things, everything that begins with an M.
Why with an M?
Why not? I'm very fond of M myself.
Such as mousetraps and the moon and memory and muchness. You know, people say things are much of a muchness. Did you ever see such a thing as a drawing of a muchness?
Well, now that you ask me, I really don't think that you could draw.
If you don't think, then you shouldn't talk.
Oh! You are the rudest lot I have ever had the misfortune to meet. I don't care how that silly story comes out, and I'll wager that widow never did have an answer. In case you haven't noticed, the Dormouse is asleep again.
Oh, come, March. Let's dunk him in the teapot. That should wake him up.
Right you are, Hatter.
That tea is jolly cold, you rotters.
A good day to you, and thanks for nothing.
Oh, you're welcome. It's not everyone that gets nothing from us and is grateful for it. Oh, Hatter, let's take this soggy dormouse inside for a quick dry. And a nice dry history lesson.
I marched right away from there, thinking that these so-called gentlemen misbehaved much like some of the dreadful boys I know. Then I saw one of the oddest things yet, a living tree with a door in the trunk. For a wonder, this door wasn't locked.
Oh my word, it's the beautiful garden.
Among the bright flower beds and cool fountains stood a huge tree of fragrant white roses. 3 gardeners, their bodies rectangular and flat, with their hands and feet at the corners, were busily slapping red paint on the white roses.
Look out now, Five. Don't go splashing paint over me like that.
I couldn't help it, Twos. 7 juggled me elbow.
That's right, Five. Always blame it on someone else.
You should talk. I heard the Queen say yesterday that you should be beheaded for bringing the cook tulip bulbs instead of onions.
Why, of all the unjust things, begging your pardon, miss.
Why, pray, are you painting those roses?
You see, miss, this here ought to have been a red rose tree, and we put in a white one by mistake, like. If the Queen finds out, we'll all lose our heads, you know. She doesn't like it when her orders aren't carried out just right.
The Queen! The Queen!
The gardeners threw themselves flat on the ground just as a long procession came by. There were soldiers carrying clubs, courtiers wearing diamonds, the royal children decked in hearts, the guests, including kings and queens, and the White Rabbit, the Knave of Hearts carrying the king's crown on a velvet cushion, and last of all, the King and Queen of Hearts.
Who is this? What is your name, child?
My name is Alice, so please, Your Majesty.
That is a very ordinary sort of name. I'm not sure if it pleases me or not. And who are these sprawling on my lawn? Gardeners, soldiers, courtiers, or my own children?
How should I know, Your Majesty? It's no business of mine.
Oh, off with her head! Off with her!
Nonsense!
Consider, my dear, she is only a child.
Oh, knave, turn over these lazy louts cluttering up my lawn.
Majesty, there's 2 and 5, which makes 7, and 7 makes 14.
Oh, knave, you jumped up peasant. How many times must you be told that you don't count? Gardeners, leave off bowing to everyone like that. You make me quite giddy. What have you been doing?
May it please your majesty, we were trying to make sure all was in order with the rose trees.
Oh, I see. Painting my roses. Off with their heads. On with the procession.
Quickly, I hid the gardeners in a flower pot from the soldiers who came back from the procession to behead them.
Excuse us, miss. Did you see which way the gardeners went?
We're supposed to behead them, you know.
I'm sure I can't see where they might have gone.
Then the queen herself returned, followed a little ways off by the white rabbit.
Well, varlet soldiers, are the gardener's heads off?
Their heads are gone, Your Majesty.
That's right, then. Carry on, soldiers. Can you play croquet, Alice?
Me, Your Majesty? Yes, ma'am.
Well, then come along. You shall play on my side.
Just then, I noticed that the white rabbit had stayed behind.
It's a very fine day, Miss Alice.
Very. Where's the justice?
Oh, hush, hush. She's under a sentence of execution.
Indeed. What for?
Did you say, what a pity?
No, I didn't. I asked, what for?
The Queen was offended that the Duchess came so late for the croquet.
Get to your places for the croquet, or you'll all lose your heads.
Here are your mallet and your ball for the game, Miss Ellis.
But this mallet is a live flamingo. And the ball is a prickly little hedgehog.
Of course. The soldiers will double their bodies to make the archers, so you must look sharp for where they are. I must scamper. The Queen won't wait.
Playing croquet this way was very provoking. The parts kept moving around before you could make your play. Everyone played without actually taking turns, and the Queen hollered, "Off with his head!" about once a minute. Just then, as I was wondering if I could slip away, there was a shimmering in the air above the trees around the croquet ground. The shimmer became a familiar grin, followed by the rest of the Cheshire Cat's head, but no more of him.
I said I'd see you here. How are you getting on?
I don't think they play at all fairly. And they bicker so. No one can't hear oneself think.
How do you like the Queen?
Not at all. She is so extremely likely to win that it is hardly worthwhile finishing the game.
Naturally. Do carry on.
Alice, child, who are you talking to?
It's a friend of mine, Your Majesty, a Cheshire Cat. Please allow me to introduce it.
I don't like the look of it, but it may kiss my hand if it so likes.
If it's all the same to you, Your Majesty, I'd rather not.
Don't be so impertinent, and don't look at me like that.
I have read somewhere that a cat may look at a king.
Well, this cat must be removed. My dear, I wish you'd have this cat removed.
Off with his head!
I'll fix the executioner myself.
I'll go with you. He may be behind in his work. Again.
Although I wasn't much concerned for a cat who could vanish, I did think I'd better see how the game was getting on. I didn't want to be the next one sentenced to execution for missing a turn. When I got back to the Cheshire Cat, there was a large crowd around him, all talking at once.
Silence! Executioner, cut off this cat's head immediately.
Your Majesty, I can't cut off a head unless there is a body to cut it off from.
He's got a point, Your Majesty.
Nonsense. Anything that has a head can be beheaded. Now get on with it.
Unless something is done about that cat in less than no time, I'll have everyone executed at once.
Beg pardon, Your Majesty? The cat belongs to the Duchess. You might better ask her about it.
She's in prison. Executioner, fetch her here instantly.
Yes, Your Majesty.
But the cat had faded away by the time the executioner returned with the Duchess. The rest of the party went back to the game, while the Duchess stayed behind with me.
There you are. You can't think how glad I am to see you again, you dear old thing.
Who, me?
Of
Grace?
course, you silly girl. Surely you don't hold that eensy-weensy little tiff in my kitchen against me? Between the cook's pepper and that squalling brat, I couldn't hear myself think. You're thinking about something, and it makes you forget to talk. There's a moral in that, and I shall remember it in a moment.
Perhaps it hasn't got a moral.
Tut, tut, child. Everything has a moral, if only you can find it.
The game is going rather better now.
And the moral of that is, 'tis love that makes the world go round.
Didn't you say that's done by everybody minding their own business?
Yeah, well, it means much the same thing. And the moral of that is, it's a fine day, Your Majesty.
Duchess, I give you fair warning. Either you or your head must be off, and that in just about no time.
Bye.
Alice, everyone but you and me and the king is under sentence of execution, so there is no game left to play. Have you seen my magnificent menagerie of mixed-up monsters yet?
No, ma'am. I didn't know you had a menagerie.
Oh, of course I do. Royalty must have monsters. Looking at them makes us feel so beautiful. You must see them all.
How many monsters, Your Majesty?
Well, why, both of them, of course. The griffin and the mock turtle. Come along. Here's the griffin, asleep as usual. Up, you lazy thing. Take Miss Alice to see the mock turtle and hear his history. I must see to some executions I've ordered. 10 to 1. His Majesty has already pardoned everyone.
What fun.
What is the fun?
Why, it's the Queen. It's all her fancy. You know, they never execute anyone, you know. Come on.
It wasn't far before we saw the mock turtle, standing sad and lonely on a rock by the seashore and crying as if his heart would break.
What is his sorrow?
It's all his fancy. He ain't got no sorrow, you know. Turtle, old feller, this here young lady, she wants to hear your history, she does.
All right, I'll tell it to her. Sit down, both of you, and don't interrupt. Once, I was a real turtle. I swam in the sea with my friends, eating delicious seaweeds and shellfish and jellyfish with
What happened to change things?
And then I was caught in a horrible net by some ruffians on a ship and sold to the Queen. She had me changed into a mock turtle. Look Look at me, the head and back feet and tail of a calf with the shell and front flippers of a turtle. I can't run on the land or swim in the sea or even sit down. All I can eat is disgusting, dry hay and oats, which upset my turtle stomach so.
Oh, come on, old fellow. It can't be all that bad.
Easy for you to say, Griffin. Okay. You're an eagle in the front and a lion in the back. You can run, you can swim, you can fly, and both halves of you eat the same raw meat for dinner. Oh, do you think I don't know who will be in the soup if the meat runs dry?
Easy there, old boy. You're upsetting the child here. Just, let's talk about something else. What was that dance you used to do with your friends in the sea?
You may not have lived much under the sea, and perhaps you've never met a lobster, so you can have no idea what a delightful dance the lobster quadrille is. Bobbing up and down and side to side, twirling to the music, leaping from surface to deep and deep to surface. Side to side, throwing the lobsters from one shore to the other, while your partners bring up more lobsters from the seafloor. If you still have a body that can do the dance, that is.
Maybe you'd rather hear the turtle sing a song?
I say, Griffin, old chap, you shouldn't volunteer me to sing when I've got a frog in my throat.
Oh, very well, Turtle. Alice, could you imagine our friend here would be so shellfish?
I said shellfish, the turtle part, and...
No sense of humor. Okay, well, why don't you cheer him up by singing something, Alice?
I can't remember any cheerful songs right now. Maybe we could try the dance. After all, how does it go?
Well, my lion half doesn't like the salt water, but I'll give it a go.
Yee. The trial is beginning.
Well, come on. We don't want to miss the start of this.
When we got to the courtroom, the King and Queen of Hearts were seated on their thrones as judges. There was a great crowd of birds and beasts, the whole pack of cards, and the Knave of Heart in chains, surrounded by soldiers. The White Rabbit stood at the very center of the courtroom, holding a scroll of parchment in one hand and a trumpet in the other. In the middle of the courtroom, there was a table holding a very large platter of delectable-looking tarts. But there didn't seem to be any chance that the refreshments would be passed around before the end of the trial. The jurors were all beasts and birds, sitting in the jury box, busily writing with pencils on slates.
How can they have anything to write down before the trial has begun?
They're writing down their names, for fear they should forget them before the trial is over.
It's so noisy and crowded in here. It's no wonder they might.
Silence in the court. The Queen of Hearts, she made some tarts, all on a summer's day. The Knave of Hearts, he stole those tarts and took them quite away.
Jerry, consider your verdict.
Not yet, not yet, Your Majesty. There's a great deal to come before that.
Call the first witness.
First witness, the Mad Hatter.
Hatter, how have you dared to show up in this courtroom with your teacup and your bread and butter?
I beg your pardon, Your Majesty. I hadn't quite finished my tea when I was sent for.
And take off your hat, you disrespectful lout.
It isn't mine, Your Majesty.
Then it must be stolen by Jiminy. Jerry, take that down.
I've no hat of my own, Majesty. I make them to sell. I'm a hat maker.
Give your evidence, Hatter, and don't be nervous. I'll have you executed at once.
Poor man, Your Majesty. I hadn't begun my tea. Not a week or so before when things are
Officer of the court. Officer of the court.
Yes, Your Majesty.
Bring me a list of the singers at the last concert.
Yes, ma'am.
And then there was the twinkling of the tea and the march hare said, oh, it's the dormouse. And some more bread and butter.
If that's all you know about it, you may stand down, Hatter.
I'd rather finish my tea.
You may go, Hatter.
Officer of the court, just take his head off outside.
He's long gone, Your Majesty.
Oh, then heads will roll when the trial is done.
About this time, I found myself feeling even more crowded where I sat, next to the jury box. I could tell I was growing again, but decided I had better stay put as long as I fit in the courtroom.
Call the next witness.
The Duchess's court. Cook.
Cook, give your evidence.
No, I shan't, Majesty or not.
Your Majesty must cross-examine this witness.
Well, if I must, I must. Cook, what are tarts made of?
Pepper, mostly.
Actually, Your Highness, tarts are made out of treacle. Master Potter told me so.
Oh, collar that dormouse. Behead that dormouse. Turn him out of court. Suppress him. Eject him.
Silence in the court. Your Majesty, the cook has disappeared.
Never mind. Call the next witness. Really, my dear, you must cross-examine the next one. It quite makes my head ache.
The next witness is Alice.
You can quite imagine my astonishment at being called as a witness in this trial. I was so surprised that I jumped up, quite forgetting how large I had grown in the last few minutes, and overturned the jury box, leaving all the creatures wriggling about on the floor.
Silence! This trial cannot proceed until all the jurors are back in their proper places.
Yes, sorry, Your Majesty. Sorry, jurors. Here are your slates and pencils back.
Give me this thing.
If everyone is quite ready, Alice, what do you know about this business?
Nothing.
Nothing whatever.
Nothing whatever.
Jury, that is very important.
Unimportant, Your Majesty means, of course.
Of course. I must write that down in my memorandum book. Here is what is important. Rule 42. All persons more than a mile high to leave the court at once. That means you, Alice.
But I'm not a mile high.
Don't contradict me. You are...
Nearly 2 miles high.
Well, I shan't go at any rate. Besides, that's not a regular rule. You just made it up.
It's the oldest rule in the book.
Then it ought to be rule number 1.
Jury, consider your verdict.
Please, Your Majesty, there's more evidence yet to come. This paper has just been picked up. It appears to be a letter written by the prisoner to somebody. Why? It isn't a letter at all. It's a set of verses. And the queerest thing about it is, they're not
in the prisoner's handwriting.
He must have imitated someone else's writing.
Please, Your Majesty, I did not write it. They cannot prove that I did. There is no name signed at the end of it.
That only makes matters worse. You must have meant mischief, or you'd signed your name like an honest man.
That proves his guilt, of course.
Nonsense! It doesn't prove anything of the sort. Why, you don't even know what the verses are about.
Officer of the court, read the verses aloud.
Where shall I begin, please, Your Majesty?
Begin at the beginning. Go on to the end, then stop.
Yes, Your Majesty. They told me you had been to her and mentioned me to him. She gave a good character, but said I could not swim. He sent them word I had not gone. We know this to be true. If she should push the matter on, what would become of you? I gave him 1. They gave him 2. You gave us 3 or more. They all returned from him to you, though they were mine before.
This must have a very deep meaning.
I don't believe there's an atom of meaning in it. It's all nonsense.
If there's no meaning, then it saves a world of trouble, you know. And yet, they all returned from him to you, though they were mine before. Well, that must be the tarts, and there they are on the table. Jerry, consider your verdict.
No. Sentence first, a verdict afterwards.
How ridiculous. The idea of having the sentence first?
Alice, you impertinent child, hold your tongue.
That I won't, even if it doesn't please Your Majesty.
You are impossible. Off with her head! Off with her head! Someone had better obey the royal command instantly, or all heads will fall.
Who cares for you? I'm my proper size now, and you're nothing but a pack of playing cards.
Before I knew it, I was back in the sunny summer meadow by the stream, where it all began before I popped down the rabbit hole. My sister was brushing some dead leaves from my face. While they were still vivid in my mind, I told her all about my adventures in Wonderland. She said it must have all been a dream.
But it was real. It was.
Real? Talking animals and tiny people and playing cards which come to life and order you about.
You may be the order me, but I'll always know the adventures were real enough. Look, our comfort box is empty.
Perhaps you're right, Alice. I know I still feel that way. It is 6 months later in our life, and the mirror over the fireplace looks like it is dissolving to let us pass through into the looking-glass house. Let's bid these nice people farewell, Alice, and see what awaits us on the other side. Say goodnight, Alice.
Good night, Alice.
Good night, everyone.
The adventures in Wonderland are now all safely through, and whether they were real or not, we'll leave that up to you. Her journey through the
Dear friends, here's our customary Northwest Arkansas Audio Theater public service announcement for the Community Blood Center of the Ozarks, located in both Springdale and Bentonville, Arkansas. Now, as you know, blood is important when people have accidents or they need surgery or they...
Did you tell them that the Community Blood Center of the Ozarks is the blood source for medical facilities in Arkansas and the surrounding states?
I was just about to mention that.
And that the CBCO needs all types of blood, A, B, O, and AB?
Right, and also...
And a single donation can save as many as 3 lives.
And that they can go online or call to set up an appointment to give today.
So if they know all that, why don't we just cut straight to the jingle?
Chorus the jingle, please.
CBCO needs donations of blood. They need old times to see. A, B, and O for most of the world, and the rare type AB. Blood gives us life, blood gives us hope, loving our neighbor best. When giving blood, we can be sure we'll too someday be blessed. CBCO is one way to help. Now let us take our stand. That we will all find many ways to make our own wonderland. To make our own wonderland.
Thank you, Chorus. And now, here are some notes on some upcoming Northwest Arkansas audio attractions.
The game's afoot this fall when Northwest Arkansas Audio Theater presents An Evening with Sherlock Holmes. Holmes and Watson are faced with 2 cases, each with its own particular challenges and scoundrels who happen to be women. First, they must help a European royal recover a personal document before scandal occurs in A Scandal in Bohemia. Next, a secret nemesis plots serious harm to both Holmes and Watson. Come experience the thrill of the chase with Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson in October 2025.
As the 20th century dawned in 1900, L. Frank Baum gave us a whole new world of the imagination in his book, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. The story captivated the world with the adventures of a young girl named Dorothy, who realizes, with the love and help of her friends, what she always knew in her heart, that for any of us, there's no place like home. Oddly enough, in 1900, movies were black and white and silent, and radio only just invented. So it took until 1939 before Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer could bring us the film which has given us the magic of Oz ever since. In early December 2025, Northwest Arkansas Audio Theater will take a whirlwind tour off to see the Wizard as we present the Lux radio version of the beloved movie classic, The Wizard of Oz. So hold on to your hats and follow the yellow brick road, or I'll get you, my pretties!
In March 2026, NWAAT is proud to present Raphael Sabatini's epic saga, Captain Blood. A soldier, a doctor, a slave, then a pirate king. Come watch us. My hat falling off. Oh. My hat, just leave me, I don't care. The show must go on. Come watch us recreate the very movie that made Errol Flynn a swashbuckling Hollywood legend. There will be intrigue, there will be heartbreak, there will be fighting, there will be romance. Something for everybody to enjoy. Follow us on our Facebook page for dates, times, and locations. We will see you then.
As he said, please stay tuned to our Northwest Arkansas Audio Theater Facebook page for more information on these coming attractions. Now, on behalf of
Debbie Barnes,
Glenn Christofferson,
Karen Gossett,
John Crochet,
Kevin Hill,
Becca Martin Brown,
Molly Mitchell,
Steve Vera,
Caitlin Smith,
Jenny Knowles,
Laurie Anderson, Courtney Heilman,
Jonathan Woodliff, Ethan Miller.
McLean Wood. Thank you for visiting this Wonderland with us, and we wish you and all of yours the very best.